which says, New Yorker dGon isn't real. He can't hurt you. Yeah, that's what you think, you little piece of... I can't even do it right, dude. Yeah, you know, my New Yorker's more like Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. You seen that one? Yeah, I sound very much like him, you know? Still rooting for the Jets. Jets, Jets. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. All right, now for your regularly scheduled programming. dGon vs. Commenters, Facecheck, episode 27 of season number 3. It was a fun episode. LS was on a date. Can't believe none of the comments were about LS were on a date, but you guys got serious about playoffs and stuff, so let's hop to it. Contrasting opinions. Father Time says, what does seeding even matter if you're confident about winning the whole tournament? I never get these sentiments. Prove you're worth the championship by beating all the harder to beat teams. If anything, complaining about locked seeding just shows you don't trust your team to win. And Kenvu, Termixzgep, tried my best, said, so EG or 100 Thieves go to Worlds without playing against the top teams, but one of the top teams, TSM, Team Liquid, or Cloud9, won't make it to Worlds no matter what. The worst thing about the format is the 6th team, Dig, actually can play 2 best-of-5s. What's the point of that? And it really fucked up the matchup of the better teams. All right, I'm with Father Time here. Father Time never has been undefeated. Sorry, Kenvu. You had a whole year to prove you're one of the top teams. You listed TSM, TL, Cloud9. Those are not the top teams. The top teams are TSM, 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses. Like, even if you were cruising or trying things or testing things, you had the final week to lock it into gear so that you got yourself one of those top 3 seeds, and instead, they didn't. So now we have Team Liquid and Cloud9 playing in the first round matchup, even though that was our mid-season showdown finals. Proof's in the pudding, man. Like, you had 45 games to get it right. Now's not the time to complain. And it's the same thing with the complaining about the TSM thing. Like, hey man, you're the #1 seed. Stop complaining, be the best in the region, and go win. And even if you do drop that game, you are 1 match away from making it to Worlds. Win your loser bracket game, though, you know? So, making it to Worlds is the goal. And you know, I wasn't a big fan about, you know, saying you got to play the harder teams, but you're the best team. Be the best team. Go get it done. All right, Sick Love says, if TSM go 0-6 at Worlds again, do you think there's an argument to give NA less spots? Not if TSM doesn't go to Worlds. Because then they will be 0-0 and they won't lose any games. Also, I don't think it matters if it's TSM. If we don't have a team make it out of group stages, I don't think we lose a spot. Maybe we have like 2 teams in play-ins and a better emerging region gets a lock-in bid, or, you know, a group stage bid. So I could see a world where that happens, but I don't see NA having less than 3. I just, especially with Worlds 2022 coming up in North America, then maybe after that one, but definitely not before this one. Mr. Spooderman says, why rate Fudge so highly? The guys is overrated AF. This is a bad take. This is just one of those wild bad takes out in nature that sometimes you just see and you just stare upon it, and then you realize, you look at his profile picture, it's a smooth brainer. Fudge has been consistently one of the best players on Cloud9 since the beginning. I would say since halfway through the beginning of spring. Like, since then, he's been versatile on the champs that he plays, barely gets pounded, willing to play boring champs for the rest of the team to allow them to carry. Fudge has been one of their best players, if not their best player. Maybe Vulcan had a lot to do with that, and say with that, and Vulcan has made plays to affect Fudge's lane. Also, I mean, if we rate Fudge highly and then Impact nearly as highly, not as highly, but nearly as highly, they're kind of in like that category together, does that mean Impact's overrated too then? Because I just don't know who else you would have up there. Someday has had a a good but not great season. Fake God, Hooney, VENN, how far you got benched. Like, yeah, it's just Fudge. It's Fudge and Impact in their own tier for this season. Alfari later on, sure, give him a full year. Someday, most of the time, yeah, I mean, if I had the opportunity to pick up someday, I would. But this year on their performance, it is Fudge and then Impact. That's a bad take. Damian A said, out of any player in the LCS, you should want Perkz on your team for these playoffs. How quickly they forget 10 titles, 3 worlds, semis, and 1 finals. All right, Damian, I don't think we quickly forgot. It took a whole year. It took a whole year of waiting for Perkz to turn on for mid-season showdown finals, and now another split of waiting for him to turn on for playoffs, and he looked worse in this summer split than he did in the spring split while he was scaling. So I don't think people forgot. It definitely felt like, all right, we're here. Now put your money where your mouth is. You know, it's time to show up because you're getting paid. So I don't think it was like people forgot. It's just, man, there was a whole lot of mediocrity and just inconsistency from that mid lane in some of these regular season games that if it was anyone else, you're like, yeah, that was bad. You just call it bad because it was bad. But because it's Perkz, that doesn't make that play bad. It's just, if anything, it makes it worse because you know how great he can be. But since he gave context of like, yeah, we're trying things, I'm trying things, I'm pushing the limits, I still don't think it's good. It's still bad. It's just not very bad because, you know, he has this track record that you have outlined that he can be great. It's just kind of scary. You've seen this. You've seen this across any type of competition, any type of sporting career where, like, you know, you rest your hat on this player always making it, but all the evidence is showing like, hey, they haven't been doing well. They haven't been shooting the 3 very well lately. They haven't been scoring a lot of touchdowns lately. And then you expect them to turn it on there at the last second. It's a scary prospect because you've seen so many other examples of people fail. But I guess we'll find out very soon, won't we? All right, on the show, I asked you all, hey, shoot over your all-pro teams. And this is the closest one that I found to being, like, that made sense. Cram124 says, my MVP for each lane, that's not what he said, is Impact, Spica, Abadoga, FBI, and Core JJ. So this is actually the closest one to myself and Dom, where you agree with Dom that Impact better top lane than Fudge, and then I think it's really just Spica there at jungle. It's mostly Abadoga with an outside chance by Jizuke to be MVP in the mid lane. You can call for a couple of different AD carries, but mostly you got FBI. But then you went with Core JJ. So Core JJ being there as the support, which was different than me and Dom, because both of us were like, yeah, Vulcan's the guy. But this one would make sense to me. I just don't think Core JJ has made enough big plays, and the team's, yeah, enough big plays for this for the team to stand out as much as Vulcan has. Like, Vulcan has just impacted the team and led them to the record that they have now. Core JJ has led the team to the record that they have now as well, but it also feels like it's a product sometimes of, you know, was Jenkins in, or was Alfari in? Was Santorin in, or was it Armeo in? Did Tactical have a good game? Whereas Volko's like, I don't care what the hell Sven's doing. I'm going to the top lane and making a play. I'm going to mid lane and making a play. Oh, I'm bloodthirsty, so I'm going to make the play. So that's kind of how I've seen it. But I wouldn't, that's splitting hairs. I wouldn't be opposed to this kind of voting. All right, friend of the show, Scott Gill says, I've been scrounging around for Copium since I flushed my stock down the toilet because I really wanted the Fly Academy Cinderella story. It's very likely now that the Fly team and its Academy team just get jettisoned, nice word, for a fresh 10 new players. Scott, that is incorrect. I highly doubt FlyQuest does not take a couple of parts of the roster that they had this year and keep some and try to build around. Just because, like, that is what you do in rebuilds. Rarely do you say, hey, all of this is all your faults, and then flush everyone out on a down year. Even with Golden Guardians, right? My year, they kept Contracts and Deathloop. And then they brought in Froggen, Hanser, and another support. I think it was Keith. Maybe it was Kuhi. Maybe it was Ole. It was Ole. And so, yeah, if you don't do that, then there's an issue. Might be different with CLG because they're all vets. Mostly all vets. But with FlyQuest, it's all young players. You gotta take a gamble on some of them, whether it's Jose, whether it's Kumo, because Licorice got jettisoned out, or even like Palafox, right? I think there are still some pieces to be had there. Johnson had like a down year slump. Like, that was weird. Like, Diamond came on late. Like, there's just like a lot of question marks where you're like, hey, is this where they're at? Is this circumstantial? And do I think it's going to get better rather than the alternative and try again and almost end up in the same spot? So, yeah, I don't think all 10 players gets jettisoned. If anything, I think you keep Jose, Brand, and also he's a solid jungler. We've seen him be able to keep that. NXI as well. Like, honestly, you might be able to sell NXI, keep Jose. You might be able to sell Jose, keep NXI. Like, NXI, I don't think played poorly for his time there. Plus, you had Triple. Triple is not under contract, though, so I think he'll have an opportunity to look around elsewhere. But Palafox, like, I think there's a world where there are parts there on FlyQuest that you use to rebuild and make 2021 a stepping stone, not a clean them up. All right, Ego Zocker 14 says, TSM won Summer 2020, and they were getting permaflamed because they lost one series to Golden Guardians. Now they are the first seed with a 4-1 record versus Cloud9 and a 5-1 record versus Team Liquid, and they are still getting shit on. Haters will always hate. There's a reason why I use that voice. All right, so I just thought it was funny that they had losing records against FlyQuest and Dignitas. Come on, man. I still remember, I'm the only one that picked them to be the #1 seed going into playoffs, right? Dom and LS had 100 Thieves. I picked them. And I think that they're probably going to win LCS Championship. Do I? Actually, I don't know. Let's see how these first round matches go, because sometimes they just don't show up. Or like Huni decides to end. So we'll see. But they're the favorites. I don't think there's anything wrong calling them the favorites. Also, I don't think finding funny correlations around a team is that bad. But yeah. And also, like, remember, Summer 2021, when they won everything and lost one series to Golden Guardians, they went to Worlds and lost all their matches. So, like, it's in phases, all right? It's in phases. Did TSM prove that they were the best team in 2021 regular season? Yes, they did. And they deserved it, right? And they deserved their spot. Is it unfortunate? Unfortunate that they have to, like, play one of the perceived best teams in Cloud9 and TL? Sure, but they have proven over time they are the best team. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of playoff Perkz? I mean, I'd be afraid of playoff Perkz. But if you're the first place team and you proved it over a longer period of time, more than any other team in LCS history, then go do it. Do the damn thing and go win. Like, yeah. But you're right. Haters will always hate. All right, y'all. Those were all the comments for this week's Facecheck, Season 3, Episode 27, dGon vs. Commenters. Again, we appreciate you. It was funny after we logged off this one. LS was on the date. He had the hot date, so he did have to go. But all three of us were like, wow, that was a lot of fun. And so it wouldn't be fun without you all coming, watching, supporting, and being part of the community. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your comments. And we'll catch you next week after we find out a little bit more about our LCS playoffs.
Well, that's the end of that video. You want more though, right? Thought so. Good thing YouTube makes it so easy to watch more VENN Esports simply by clicking the subscribe button, dinging the bell, and exploring all the other good stuff we have to offer. Got some good things. Yeah. I remember that one. Yeah, this was the one that we did that one time, and it was like so great. It was so good. I learned a lot. You should click on it. It's this one.